things you need to know before you buy your car.
Whoa, folks. All right. Number one, in 2024, you're trying to get a good deal on a new or used car. Here are the 5 things you need to know. My dad used to sell cars for 40 years. Number one, OTD, 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 out the door price. Pops, explain to us why the out the door price is the number one most important thing you need to understand before you buy a car in 2024.
The out the door price explains every penny of what you're paying for. You get your selling price, you get your taxes, your state fees, your doc fees. You want to make sure there's no added fees or accessories that you didn't ask for. An out the door number is the most important number. It explains every red cent of what you're paying for. On Monday, Zach turns 29, and guess what? You folks get the presents. The hell with him. He doesn't need anything. He's got it all. But you folks, they're free gifts. There might be somebody that can win, I don't know, a concierge service for free. Tune in Monday to find out what's going on.
Absolute shocker, folks. The online advertised price for a new or used car is typically not the actual price you're going to pay. To my dad's point, there's typically fees. Dealers charge a doc fee, for example. Then there are a bunch of other fees that most of the time show up on these OTD worksheets. We have a whole guide on fees you should and shouldn't pay, which ones are bogus and which ones are unfortunately legitimate. So there's fees, then there's all the government related things, taxes, title, tags. That shouldn't really change based on what dealership you're going to. And then you mentioned it, add-ons, Dad. A lot of these, when you ask for the out the door, especially for like used cars, we see reconditioning add-ons or we see paint protection add-ons. Those are all, as you've said in the past, and we even have merch for it. If it's taxable, it's negotiable. So the only way to compare apples to apples, 2 cars, is to ask for an out-the-door price, get an out-the-door price, and then compare those two, correct?
Correct. That's what you need to know.
Number 2 on our list, Dad, let's jump over to the pre-approval. Do not go into a negotiation if you're going to finance a vehicle without a pre-approval, because the dealership's just going to get you in some sort of financing that might not be the best case for you. Can you help us understand why getting a pre-approval, especially in 2024, is so important when buying a new or used car?
Well, with interest rates being as high as they are today, which are still historically low, but high for most people based on what we've seen in the last 10 to 15 years, it impacts your payment negatively with a higher interest rate. So you want to get pre-approved through your local bank or credit union and know what rate you can get so that if the dealership offers you financing, and they will, you need to have a low number in mind that you can get from your lending institution that they can meet or beat if they want to get your financing. Otherwise, they will try to take advantage of you on the financing side of things because they get paid from the bank for placing a loan with that bank.
If you want more information on this, obviously search here on YouTube or Google search buy rate space CarEdge. We talk about it all the time. There's a buy rate and a sell rate. The buy rate is what the dealership pays to get the money from the bank. The sell rate is what they charge you. They can mark up the interest rate on your loan. A lot of people don't know that, and that's why having a pre-approval gives you leverage. Number 3, buying a car in 2024, new or used, know how long the dealer has had that vehicle on the lot. There's a really interesting thing called floor plan, which is a interest expense that the dealer takes on for holding on to that vehicle. The longer a dealer has had a vehicle on the lot, the more motivated they should be to negotiate and lower the price. Keep me honest here, Pops. That's why it's number 3.
Absolutely. The days on lot are really important for inventory management for a dealership. Every dealership has an aging policy for their new and used cars. Used cars, typically, they don't want to keep longer than 60 days. New cars, they'd like to turn within 90 days. So if you have a particular model in mind, in a particular color combination, when you go to the dealership, ask them, what's the oldest X that you have in my color combination? And the salesperson is going to look at you like you're crazy. And you can just look back at them and go, hey, I understand the longer it's been sitting here, the more motivated you are to get rid of it. I think we could probably work a better price if I help you. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. always know how long a vehicle's been sitting on a dealer's lot.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter if it's new or used. There are some dealers out there that pay cash for their cars, but not a lot. Most have financing, just like you or I would if we were purchasing a vehicle, and they have to pay down that financing with interest every single day that it sits. So the longer the vehicle's been on the lot, the more motivated they are to transact. All right, number 4, Dad, let's say you have a trade-in. We're seeing this a lot right now in 2024 with used car values finally starting to go down. Folks are showing up underwater on their trade-ins, but that doesn't mean you just take the first offer from the dealership. There are all sorts of steps you can take in advance of heading to the dealer to get a trade-in offer to make sure that you are in a position of strength. Help us understand why your trade-in is the 4th area that you really need to be focused on and what you can do when buying a car.
You need to know what your trade is worth, okay? It has a value. And how do you find out that value? If you want, drive around to different dealerships and just say to them, I'm not interested in buying anything. I'm only interested in selling. I understand there's a shortage of good quality used cars. Mine is available. How much will you pay me for it? Go to the CarEdge website. Click on our sell feature. Get instant offers from merchants in your area, dealerships in your area, to see what they would be willing to pay for it. You need to know this information prior to going to the dealership, because when you are selling the dealer your car, they have the same goal in mind that you have when you're trying to buy theirs. They want to buy yours as inexpensively as possible. You want to buy theirs as inexpensively as possible. So you need to know what the real value of yours is so that you don't get taken advantage of.
All right, number 5 for 2024, we've got a 5A and a 5B. 5A is for new cars, 5B is for used cars. For new cars, you need to know incentives. Inventory is building back up, and so automakers are putting more and more money towards incentives. And quite frankly, the dealer should be excited to make you aware of all those incentives, but sometimes they can forget or not even know which incentives are active. So you really have to do your research on incentives. Pops will break that down in just a second. 5B, used cars, pre-purchase inspection. The quality of used cars in the market today is worse than it's ever been before. The number of repossessed vehicles making it to the dealer auctions is higher than it was pre-pandemic. So there's a lot of, unfortunately, bad cars in the mix. You have to get a pre-purchase inspection. Pops, break down 5A, 5B for us, and then you are one step closer to getting that MFing deal, like you said earlier.
5A, incentives. You can go to the manufacturer's websites, plug in your zip code, see what incentives might be available. Oftentimes, there's dealer groups for a particular brand in your area. So there could be regionalized incentives. Check any dealer group websites so that you can find out what incentives are available, what you might qualify for. That's money from the manufacturer. It doesn't cost the dealership anything. So that's just money from the manufacturer to making a deal easier. So you need to know that. Pre-purchase inspection. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every dealership is perfect when they go through inspecting and reconditioning their used cars. But sometimes, occasionally, they might miss a thing or two. So, much like when you go to buy a new home or any real estate, one of the contingencies is a home inspection. One of the contingencies on a purchase of a pre-owned car is a pre-owned pre-purchase inspection. You want to get a independent set of eyes looking at that vehicle. If you're looking at a Toyota at a Honda dealership, make arrangements to take that Toyota to the local Toyota dealership, have them inspect it. Vice versa, if you're looking at a Honda at a Toyota dealership. Always get an independent set of eyes to take a look at the vehicle to make sure the dealership didn't miss anything. And I guarantee you, they did.
All right, folks, CarEdge.com. Subscribe to the channel here if you like this information. This is what we're all about, helping you get a great deal in 2024. Thank you, Pops, as always.
Thank you, Handsome. It was a lot of fun, damn it, doing this one.